you've been around one hell of a long time, as you said earlier. They've been around one hell of a long time. Yourself, them, Elton and Sir Paul are almost part of our National Heritage Trust, basically. What makes it possible to have a career like you guys have had?
Well, I think you've got to first of all love what you do. And I've been to see them a number of times, and I know my sister Joan, she just loves them. She and her daughter go and see them whenever they're in town, because you love what they do. And I think it comes from them, though. If I go on stage and I'm bored and don't really want to be there, I'm afraid the public can spot it a mile off. So you never go to a Status Quo gig and ever feel that they don't want to be there. They're there. And that's going to help with longevity. They also don't have any pretensions. They say, okay, this is what they like to hear. Let's give the people what they want to hear. Okay, they might have a new record out and they'll bring it, and then 5 years on, that becomes a good old golden oldie for them. So they've got all the elements that help to keep you in your place and give you longevity. I can't think of any other reasons, really. Of course, I know that time's different now. I think sometimes when you think of some of these X Factor winners, they're fantastic singers. I've heard some wonderful singing come out of these competitions. But I often ask myself, do they actually want longevity? Because somehow the quick burst of fame seems to be enough. Whereas for Status Quo and myself and a number of others, you kind of chase that. Or at least for me, 10 years went by, and I thought, I said, the Shadows, we were just about to split, actually. We broke up about 10 years on, but I said, we're both still here. I can't believe it. We were written off as one-hit wonders, or here today, gone tomorrow. And suddenly I thought, wow, 10 years, and didn't even notice it, which means that it is possible within the rock and roll world to have a steady, long career. So they must have spotted the same thing at about the same time as I did, that it was possible. But there again, you have to want it. Then it means you've got to work at it. They've never stopped working. Me neither.
Well, my final question is simply this. Their latest album came through Tesco's. It avoided all record stores. What there are left of record stores.
I know.
It sold an awful lot of copies, better than their last two studio albums, on the back of a big Radio 2 campaign. Do you believe that even for artists who've been around as long as you guys have, there's got to be a new channel now to get your product to your fans?
Yes, for any of us that are still happening and still recording, it's become a real problem. It's a problem not just for them, it's for me, it's for all of us. I just read recently Elton's thinking twice about whether he should record your things, and I'm thinking, well, why bother? Why make records if they can't get downloaded unless they're heard on the radio? So it still boils down to radio. And it seems to me that unless a group of us get together and say, we're going to start a chain of radio stations that actually broadcast, not narrowcast. In other words, if we did this, and we had, say, a station I would certainly insist that you play everything. You do not decide what you don't like and say, oh no, I've never liked them, I'm not going to play it. If they're number one, you flip them or play them. And that's what I would insist, that you get, because broadcasting's gone now. Nowadays stations are very happy to aim at the 10 to 15-year-olds, or they just play rap, and they'll say, oh no, Cliff Richard, he's not our demographic. Hello, until you've played it, you don't know whether I could appeal to your demographic. I met somebody the other day, a journalist, and he said, my first record I asked my mum to get it for me. He said, I was only 7, and it was We Don't Talk Anymore, my We Don't Talk Anymore. I said, you were 7? So it means that as a 7-year-old, they were still playing my records so that a 7-year-old could hear it. Now, there may have been 10 other 7-year-olds who thought it was crap, but one guy heard it and liked it at 7 years old. So I feel that if you can still do it, you should do it, and somebody should play it, and let the public decide what they want to hear and what they want to buy. But I'm not sure we'll win this war. I think you can win the odd battle when it comes to arguments about it. You can put up a good argument for why we should be played. One of the big ones for me is that these new young singers should compete against us. Okay, come on, beat us. You think you're that good? Beat us. If you beat us, we bow, say thank you, you're number one. But we're not allowed to compete. So there's a big problem with it. But there are ways around, and the Tesco's is one way. I know that Rick Hucknall now makes his records and then just he distributes his own music. And maybe that's what we have to do. But boy, that's really changed things. And I'm not sure I like the change as much. I'm sure Francis and Rick would agree that rock and roll were hand and glove. they were pretty well the same thing. And to have removed that glove from us has left me feeling kind of naked. And I'm sure they feel the same. But, you know, look, keep smiling, guys. At least we can say to ourselves, Quo can say, we were selling records when we were really selling records. Not just 35,000 a week, but sometimes 50, 60, 70,000 a day. So we can smile and think we were there during the good times.
Do you want to quickly touch on Frantic Paul?
I was going to say, just we've got time for just one
It's
more.
fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course,
Thank
yeah.
you. Obviously, you know, when we get a little older, we start getting quite nostalgic about our music, you know. And we'd all love to see Queen again, but we have no Freddie. We'd love to see the Beatles again. We've got no John and no George. What we do have is a Rick and a Francis and an Alan and a John, the original Frantic Four.
Yeah.
What do you think that would mean to Quo fans if they got back on the stage one more time?
I would have thought that, you know, I got together with my band, The Shadows. The excitement and the ticket sales were ginormous. I think that when you've had something that good, to share it again with a crowd couldn't fail, and they should do it.
Brilliant. They are doing it, by the way. So
Oh,
that's
they
gonna
are?
be-
Great, good.
That's gonna, thank you so much.
Thank you. No, say hi to them when you see them.
Will do.
Thanks, Nicola.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Neil.
Thank you. Thank you.